Hi, my interior design family. I'm Tia from Tia Karen Interiors, and today we're going to talk about the 5 steps to creating your dream office. Now, the first thing I'm going to ask you is, are you feeling inspired in your home office? Of course, when we're talking about the dream office, I'm talking about a home office. So if you're someone who works from home or you're an entrepreneur, then you can actually create and redesign your own space, right? But I do get when you're at work in an office, we don't have the freedoms to choose the interiors. However, when you're at home, you have all the power. So if you're not feeling inspired, what's going on? So here are the 5 steps for you to be able to create your dream interior. Personally, I found that when I was working from home initially, when the whole working from home thing really began, I was just working from anywhere. I'd be working from my living room one day, I'd be working in my bedroom another day, I'd be working in the dining room another day. I didn't have a designated space that I was calling my office, right? And that created some kind of mental clutter because every day I was in a different space. I didn't have the consistency that I have now, and it really slows down your productivity because you're settling into a different space every single day. And then I went ahead and decided that a certain space of the house was going to be my home office, and I used that space for like almost just under a year. It was good, but it wasn't the best in terms of the layout wasn't the best, and I wasn't motivated to actually work in the way that I wanted to work, or like it wasn't giving me the freedoms to create the content that I want because the space wasn't conducive for what I needed. Like the energy was not right. Then I decided to move into a different space. And that space works so much better for me, and I'm able to actually just work and get ideas and show up. So how do you end up creating a space that actually works for you? And the first thing I want to talk about is clutter, right? Because sometimes we're not dealing with the style or dealing with the colors or the interior design aspect of the space. Sometimes we're dealing with clutter, and clutter actually blocks our creativity. It can be overwhelming to our senses, like when the things everywhere, they're calling out to our attention. So our attention, especially if you're a woman, it becomes more diffusive attention rather than focus. So if you want to have focus, you want to create a space that is quiet in terms of free of clutter. And if you're interested into discovering how you can actually create a space that allows you to focus a little bit more, I do offer sanctuary consultations worldwide. Just have to book it on my website and I'll be happy to give you that assistance. But otherwise, the first thing I want you to do is to look at your area and think about whether it's cluttered. And you want to have a quiet area, but quietness doesn't only mean in terms of sound, right? As I've just mentioned, we also want to be thinking about what's around the space, because if there's too much going on, you just can't focus and be at your best in terms of clutter. So we want to reduce the amount of clutter in the area. Secondly, I want you to come up with a theme. Okay, now this can be a full-on interior design style theme. For example, you have contemporary, mid-century modern, transitional, and all these colors. And I definitely encourage you to go online, go on into magazines or Pinterest and pick a style that you like, because you want to have a space that is stylish, right? This is why you've clicked on this video, because you're interested in creating a stylish piece, a stylish space. So I definitely do encourage you to go ahead and look at those online Pinterest boards and discover what style you want your space to have. And that will be your theme. And when you go shopping or when you're choosing your paint colors and your products, you're going to make sure that everything is in alignment and you're not just buying things without them being in alignment, right? And then once you've got that done, I then want you to think about what you see. Okay, so what you see, I'm going to break these down into two things. So the first thing is the backdrop, right? You want to have a backdrop that you like, if that's something that's important to you. For this could be for someone that maybe you hold a lot of online meetings, or I don't know, you're a digital creator and the backdrop is something that's important to you. It doesn't have to be important for everybody. You could just have a clear white wall and that's fine. But I want to give this idea out in case you're the kind of person that actually likes having a really good backdrop. So you want to come up with ideas for how to design your backdrop. And then the opposite is maybe you're a very visual person. So for you, it's not so much about the backdrop that other people get to see if you're like working from home and you're in a meeting. Maybe that doesn't matter so much to you. Like maybe for you, you're just a visual person and you like to feel inspired by what you see. And if you're that kind of person, you're a little bit more like me. In that case, then you want to make sure that what you have in front of you, the wall that's in front of you, it has a backdrop that inspires you. I don't know whether you're going to go with colors or pictures or however you do it, but you want to make sure you think through what you're seeing. If you're that kind of person that maybe gets a little bit bored, or you're just a visual learner, or yeah, you're just a visual person and you appreciate a lot of visual aesthetics, then for you, looking at a blank white wall might be really demotivating, you know, and bringing your productivity really, really, really low. And so if you're anything like me, and if you're like that, then you want to make sure that the wall that you're looking at is the one that is actually creating a lot of inspiration, because you will get to focus and be your best self. And we all want to be our best selves when we are at work. And the fourth thing I want to talk to you about is having a comfortable chair. Now, you want to go for an ergonomic chair, right? And the reason I say that is because there's so many beautiful like office chairs like online, honestly, but they don't work if you're working 9 to 5 and you're sitting in that chair. I've seen some friends that have like beautiful wooden chairs, or chairs with wooden with certain fabrics that they're so beautiful to look at or to sit on for an hour or two. But when it comes to someone working on there for like 7, 9, 10 hours a day, that's just ridiculous, and they're painful, and in the end it leads to like a waste of money and discomfort. And when you're uncomfortable, you can't work well. This is why the whole feng shui thing is also quite important, right? And making sure that the things you have in your space actually work for you energetically. So we're not just here creating beautiful spaces, which of course we love, but we want to create functional spaces that also look beautiful. So definitely making sure you have an ergonomic chair. And I know sometimes the other office chairs might look, or other chairs might look more visually pleasing. However, your health is very important, and this is an office space. So you want to make sure you're looking after yourself so that you have, the longevity to work long for many years into the future, right? So we want to be comfortable. And then the fifth thing I want us to think about when creating your dream office is, of course, your color scheme. And the color scheme I'm going to mention here specifically is a monochromatic color scheme. Ideally a neutral monochromatic color scheme, because again, we're going back to that concept of clutter. When our space is cluttered, we can't focus very well. So we want to go for a monochromatic color scheme, which pretty much is one color and the different varying shades of the same color, right? So, I don't know, you might pick, let me think of a color. Okay, this is not a neutral color, but that's a color that's come to mind. Let's say you have a red, then you have different shades of red, all the way to like a pink, to a pastel pink, and also all the way down to like a plum and a burgundy, because those will all be in the same family of red, right? So you want to take that concept and add it to a neutral color, and that will work really well. So you can buy pieces or furniture pieces in different textures, on different fabrics that are on that monochromatic color scheme. And the monochromatic color scheme is really good because it creates a seamless and harmonious feel to any space, and it just fits any lifestyle. And as well, it looks visually pleasing, but it also helps you focus, because your mind and your eye is not picking up on so many colors, and so it's kind of like in one space. For example, you know, when we're looking at traffic lights, right, when you're looking at the yellow, you know what you're supposed to be doing. When you're looking at the green, you know what you're supposed to be doing. But imagine the yellow and the green and the traffic light going on at the same time. You'll be like confused, like, oh, you almost don't move, you don't do anything, you're confused, compared to like when you have like one color on the traffic on the traffic light, and you know exactly, oh, okay, it's yellow, I'm getting ready to go, or it's green, I'm now moving. So it's the same concept when we think about a monochromatic color scheme, because it just reduces the amount of information that is coming into our minds, and therefore we can have more harmony and peace of mind to work in harmony and to focus, because our attention is not going everywhere. So those are the 5 tips I have for you for how to create your dream office, and I'm just going to recap them again. Especially if you're someone who right now is not feeling very inspired in your office, you want to look at, is the space quiet, not only in terms of sound, but also in terms of clutter, and feng shui helps with this. Secondly, you want to look at making sure that you have a theme or a style, and then you want to think about whether you want to have a backdrop or you want to have a focal wall that you're actually looking at, right? And then you want to think about making sure you have that comfortable chair. And then the 5th is making sure you're choosing a neutral color, and you can use that color for a monochromatic color scheme, and that way you get to have a space that feels harmonious, feels peaceful, and you can work in and feel super inspired in. So I hope that has helped you, giving you some inspiration for creating that dream home office. But I also want to tell you about the freebie that I have, which is a color scheme freebie. You can download that for free, and maybe you'll get a few inspirations about types of colors you might be willing to use for your space. But with that said, I wish you the best of luck, and I wish you a clutter-free workspace that you're able to work in comfortably. Goodbye, my darling.